What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the SHIPIT Nation MMA show for UFC 314. And man, it's going to be a good card. 13 fights. Looks like all should be good to go. Obviously, you guys are used to Title and Marley. Your boy Hoops subbing in for Marley. Big shoes to fill. I'll do my best. Obviously, he's a little more knowledgeable at UFC than Hoopster is, but I'll give it my best. I'll kind of be in the hosting role with my boy Title, but man, excited to be here, excited for this. I mean, one of my favorite DFS sports nowadays is UFC, MMA. Very excited to talk through this one. It's probably the best card, I'd say, of the year. Very excited for it. Bringing my guy Title. What's going on over there, man?
Man, always excited to talk some fights with you, any sports with you, but talking some MMA. That's my first show actually at SHIPIT Nation was with you, talking some MMA.
Yeah.
Hop on for the big one, UFC 314. Definitely one of the best fight cards of the year. I mean, DFS-wise, two 5-round fights, not two title fights. The Chandler Pimblett is 5 rounds, not title, but it brings a whole new dimension into the DFS streets. And man, 13 fights. We did have weigh-ins. Gene Silva missed initially, then he made weight. Nora Cornhole at the bottom, missed by 1.5 pounds, looked awful, but I've heard nothing that the fight's off, so I'm treating it like 13 fights. I mean, fingers crossed. Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, sometimes even Friday night. It's been a lot of cancellations recently. If that's the case, I always update everything. As always, projections, ownership, and yeah, no Big Marley. He's on vacation, very well deserved, but he does have all of his content up. It is a premium product, obviously, but if you want all of Big Marley's thoughts, it's in the fight rankings. You can go check that out.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, I've been very open. Like with I've had a lot of success playing, MMA DFS, and it's fully attributed to you and Big Marley. I mean, literally, it's the only thing I look at. You guys have done a hell of a job with this product. From start to finish. I mean, you guys started this product and continue on, just absolutely crushing. So. It's very valuable content and so many different angles, and it's great to have you guys on. So very excited about that. If you are not a member at SHIPIT Nation, we still have the promo going. I double checked. I know Tambo's our marketing guy, but I said, Tambo, we got to keep this promo going at least through the weekend because it's a big UFC pay-per-view, and we have, the Master Showdown stuff's going to be big as well. So the code is DGen75. And use that code. You basically get $75 off our $99 package, which includes the SaberSim Optimizer. Obviously, you can build up to 250 teams at a time. All our projections, ownerships, the Stone, Slate Plan, rankings, our education course, Discord access as well, which is huge. I mean, the Discord is such a big benefit of what we do. It really brings the community aspect all together. So right now is the time to get in. You can use this on the $99 monthly plan. DGen75 is the code. Now is the best time to get in. I mean, the big pay-per-view card, obviously, for UFC, but if you play golf, Showdown stuff's going to be big this weekend as well. So now's a good time to get in. In terms of this fight card, obviously we have 13 fights, 2 5-round fights. So, I mean, the key here is the 2 5-round fights bring a different dynamic into the mix. And on occasion in the past when we've had these pay-per-view cards with the 2 5-round fights, like I have, locked both fights. Like I want at least one guy from each fight, and just wanted to get your opinion on how viable that is this week. It seems like it's viable because of the price tags. Like you have Patty and Chandler 84 and 78, Volkanovski and Lopez 8,200 and 8K. So the 2 5-round fights are mid-tier fights. Contemplating doing that this week. I just wanted to get your opinion on that, before we hop in and go fight by fight.
Yeah, it's going to be the chalk road for sure. I am not going to make that rule for a couple reasons. A lot of my stuff's in the flagship. There's almost like 60,000 people in the $3, 30,000 people in the $18, I believe it is this week. Maybe it's even, they're huge contests. 555 is big, everything for the pay-per-view. But the more people in the field, the more I try to get a little different. And even last week, Lerone Murphy, Josh Emmett, the main event. We only had one main event. It wasn't a great ceiling card. He scored 70 in a win. Not that these guys are just going to score 70, but if they score 93, either of these in the first or second, or in one of those 2 fights, I'm not 100% sure that's going to be on the winner. 2 reasons. A, there's 13 fights, so that extra fight compared to 12 adds in more combinations, and then 8 of the 13 fights are expected to finish. That means 93 might not be enough. We could see all 6 people score over 100 plus. Another thing, we only have one big favorite on this card. That's Chase Hooper at minus 900. Outside of that, we have no favorite currently above minus 400. What that means, and a lot in like the minus 175, plus 150 range, etc. What that means is a lot more underdogs are viable. And I think a lot of these underdogs do have a ceiling where, again, 93, 92, like from Chandler, from Lopez, 100% you take it. It's more than likely on the winner. But you can see Chase Hooper put up 130. You can see Darren Elkins in a win down there, put up 111. You can see Dominic Reyes get a first-round knockout at 7,400, score 104. So there's just so many other fighters, I think, that have upside in the dog range and the upper tier range that those 2 fights are going to be so highly combined owned. If I only play one of them and fade one in some lineups and you're on the optimal, you have a very good chance at a solo shipper. So the only rule I will be making is at least one of Lopez, Volk, Pimblett, and Chandler. But majority of my lineups probably will have both. I'm just not going to full force that. If you're just doing the 555, 12 teams, I probably would play both because you don't need the pure optimal when you're playing against less people.
Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, there are some appealing spots, which, yes, I think most people will probably do it, but I think there's a pretty good chance that it goes like a little lower than normal just because of all these fights that potentially end inside the distance, and people are going to make sure to get exposure to that. So I don't know. We'll see. I obviously haven't built any teams or anything at this point, but man, those last 2 are super appealing. But a lot of fights predicted obviously to not go the distance, which could lead to some big time scores. So yeah, excited to talk through it all with you. We'll talk more strategy and stuff along the way, and maybe even hop into SaberSim if we have some time and just build some teams and kind of see what the popular sort of builds look like. So if we have time, we will definitely try to cover that. But the first fight on the card, we're going to start from right here, fight 13 all the way to 1. Nora Cornell facing Haley Cowen. Cornell is basically a minus 170 favorite. Cowen plus 145 in this fight is one that is expected to go the distance at plus 130. I followed your stuff for a while, right? And I've looked a little bit at your content this week, but not super deep. I'm guessing this is probably one that you don't have much interest in. 2 chicks fighting, not expected to go the full distance. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, you've definitely followed my content a little too long. It's definitely burned me some weeks. It'll definitely burn me in the future as well. But I mean, so as you guys can see too, Big Marley, he does the fight rankings. So you can see he has this as a 1-star. The only 2 fights he has is 5 stars of the last 2 fights, handful of 4s, etc. Again, 8 of the 13 fights are supposed to finish. This is one that is not. Another thing that's worth noting is I always put the odds and the fights to finish on Monday, so you can see on the stone. And then when I'm putting the content up live this afternoon, I always update it. But I always like to compare line movement from Monday to Friday, and it's easy for you to see. So not any movement on the money line, still the same, minus 170, 145. But the fight to finish, it was plus 130 at open. Now it's plus 155. That's going in the wrong direction. You need finishes more than likely, or if you are getting a decision, especially at 8,600, you better hope you're getting 6 takedowns, 12 minutes of control time, or a couple knockdowns. I just do not see that at all in this fight. Haley Cohen's cheeks, all she likes to do is press forward, push her up against the cage, make the fight boring. Nora Cornell's a little better. I mean, she has some pop on her shots. She's the better striker. Shit, she might even be the better wrestler. Like, I'm definitely picking Cornell. Problem is, she's 8,600. You need a big boy score, big girl score. I don't think it happens. This fight's minus 180 to finish. With all that being said, this will be the lowest owned combined fight on the card. I don't think it's close. Cornhole is plus 255 to finish. That's not great for 8,600. It's not bad, though. And when you say she might be 10% owned, if I pick someone, it would be Cornhole. If I'm playing 150 teams, I'll probably get a little of her. In 20 teams or less, though, this is just a full fade. If this fight beats me, I'll move on to next week. And again, Cornhole was the one that did miss weight, and she looked bad on the scales, too. Moneyline hasn't really gone anywhere, though. But, yeah, this is a fade to start it off.
Yeah, there's nothing better when a UFC card kicks off and you fade the first fight, which this is obviously super viable this week. And, you know, you see double-digit ownership on both. Maybe both around 10, which is probably the case here. I haven't looked super deep at ownership, but everyone will kind of get something. So, like, you got 20%. If you fade it and it does bust, you got 20% of the field just done right after fight one. And I think that could be the case here. Everyone gets a little ownership. There's limited number of options on the slate. Not this slate, in general for MMA DFS. You have usually between 24 and 28 fighters for the most part on most cards. You're looking at 12, 13, 14 cards. You cross one completely off. Like, you're in a good spot if this does indeed bust. And there's a lot of high upside fights here. So even if this does go off, and let's say Cornell puts up 93 or something, right? She puts up 93. You're not dead. Like, you're not dead because of the price tag at 86. You just need a couple of these people priced around her to score 100, and there's a lot of people priced around her that can score 100. So I'm definitely leaning towards the full fade in my 150. In these spots in the past, like, I've played the underdog a little bit just because, like, in order to play the underdog the way I'm speaking logically, I need to say, all right, 70 on this card is going to be good enough. And I don't think 70 is going to be good enough. I think we see some underdogs put up big scores. So, like, based on the logic that I just laid out, I think I'm leaning towards fully fading it. And it's nice, again, because if it does bust, like, at least 20% of the field's done. At least 20% of the field is immediately done because they're going to have ownership. It's not like an MLB DFS where guys are 1% and 2% owned because there's so many options. There's only 26 fighters this week. Everyone's getting some ownership. So even, a low owned fade is relatively big in the grand scheme of things. So, I'm leaning towards just crossing it off. And again, I've played these underdogs in the spot quite a bit, but it has to be on cards where you think like 60 or 70 can be good enough. And I just don't think that's the case this week. So that's my final thoughts. Anything else to wrap this one up?
I don't think you could have said it better. Again, with so many closely lined fights and 8 of the 13 expected to finish, when I think dogs are going to come through and I think there's upside for dogs, I will focus more on that. If 7 of the 13 fighters were minus 300 or greater, I would play some Cowen because plus 145 is good for the price. 70 might be enough to jam everything else. I just don't think it's enough. And last thing to note, I'm pretty much, when I'm looking at this fight, it's close enough to the Patty Chandler and Volk Lopez fight where I think that Cornell might need to outscore them straight up. And I just don't see that happening. Like, that's close enough in the pricing range where I'm saying, okay, you have to outscore Patty or Volk in a win. And I think the odds of that are very low. But again, if I was to play anyone, I'm taking Cornell. I'm overpaying for the 1,000, but I mean, she's plus 255 to finish. I think Kaylee Cohen's an awful play, but they both are.
Yeah, and just the last final note. I mean, even if you do want to fade, it's not doing much because both these girls are 10% or whatever the hell they're going to be. It's like it is doing. In MMA, fades are massive. Any fade's massive because a lot of people will play everyone. They'll get exposure to everyone. So you're making a move on the field by making any full fade. So just keep that in mind as well. Next fight is Marco Tulio facing Trajan Gore. Tulio minus 330, Gore plus 270, and this is the second most likely fight to finish at minus 400. Tulio's 9,200, Gore is 7K flat. What do you got in this one?
Yeah, so we had a lot of line movement, mainly on the inside of the distance prop in this one. So again, minus 400 to finish on Monday. Now it's minus 285. So still the second most likely and heavily favored, but a good amount of money did come in on the over. We also have the second biggest favorite on the card in Marco Tulio right here at minus 365. Again, outside of it goes minus 900 Hooper, minus 365 Tulio, then minus 300 Julian Arosa. Outside of that, nobody right now over minus 200, which just shows how many live dogs there are. But I mean, Tulio looks really good in this one. I think he's legit. I think he's probably better than Trajan Gore anywhere. I think he gets a first or second round knockout, can walk Gore down. Gore will feel the power shots. I think Tulio might even be the better wrestler. Both guys are like, Gore can hit hard. Gore had a nasty submission against Josh Friend, just absolutely manhandled him. The takedowns are fine, but I just think Tulio, when watching both, he's just better. better wherever it goes. Hits harder, more volume. I don't think Gore has any success getting takedowns. I think if Tulio wanted one, he could probably get one as well. Now, he is going to get some ownership, which then brings, do you want to go Tresean Gore as some leverage? I like other dogs on this slate where I don't want to play much Tresean Gore. He's plus 415 to finish, which is fine. I think Tulio will be about 40% owned. Gore will probably be somewhere around 12%. So if I'm going large field stuff, the $3, the $25, I think Gore is fine. I prefer other spots. I think Tulio is a very strong play, though, at 9,200. With all that being said, I don't know how much I love, and I will in some lineups, but I love Chase Hooper this week. He's minus 900. I think he dominates in so many ways. You leave 400 on the table, you build a Hooper team, you go down to Tulio. It's viable, but I don't love it in a vacuum. Even if Tulio does get a first-round knockout, like Chase Hooper can get there in a decision. Tulio, I don't think he wrestles enough, in a second-round knockout could score 95, and that might not be enough at 9,200. So, yeah, Big Marley has it a 4-star. I agree. I might even have it 5 stars on Tulio's side, 1 on Gore. Not a big fan of Gore at all. We'll play a decent amount of Tulio, but he's 9,200, and I do prefer Chase Hooper pretty strongly for 400 more.
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously not super familiar with these dudes. I mean, the names look a little bit familiar. I mean, I definitely, the way I'll be doing my teams is I'm gonna be in on Tulio. It's just a matter of how much. Like I'm with you though, because this Hooper, I do have an opinion on Hooper. I've seen him, followed him over the years, and it seems like he's improving a ton, and the upside's massive. A lot of different ways to get in. It will be easy to get exposure to these 9K guys because the two the two 5-round fights are basically mid-tier pricing. So you're going to be able to have opportunity to spend, at this point for me personally, I'm guessing I'll probably be somewhere around the field on Tulio, and then maybe just fading Gore. So, I mean, I could have like 3 fades right out of the gate. If I fade both the chicks in the first fight, fade Gore, and Tulio puts up like 100 plus, like you're in a pretty good spot to start this card. You're going to have a lot of different paths to get to the top. So kind of looking at something like that. I mean, I would definitely play Gore, I think, over either of the first 2 female fighters. So maybe a little bit of him potentially. We'll see how it goes when I build out all my teams. But it does seem pretty clear. Tulio, solid play. It just comes down to, how does he stack up against those other 9K guys? Does he, get to Hooper level? Can he outscore him? And there's other 9K guys that are favored quite a bit all throughout this card. So you really got to start stacking up those guys versus each other essentially.
One more thing to add.
Yeah.
Big Marley's got me into this. Just so Tresean Gore is inside the distance prop plus 415. That's 19.5% roughly, 19.4 if you want to be exact for probability. If I'm telling you Tresean Gore is getting a finish, I bet you want a pretty good amount of them.
Yeah.
We have him projected at 11%, Tulio about 40%, and Gore's odds to finish are just 20%. So that's the stuff I've done a little bit. Big Marley's got me into it a lot. And the more teams I play, I really look at that in my portfolio. So just kind of what you're saying. I prefer Gore over Cornell and Cowen, no doubt about it. If Gore wins, 40% of the field can be dead, and he has a 20% chance to get a finish at roughly 11%. So, shout out Big Marley. He's definitely got me way into that stuff with the odds converter.
Yeah, it's a good way to look at it. And I mean, even if you're, setting the odds aside and just saying, man, okay, what's a winning score look like in the first fight with those girls? A winning score could be
70,
60. Yeah, it could be 65 to 75, right? That could be the winning score. In this fight, the winning score probably around 100, no matter which way it comes. It does not seem like a winning score would be like 65 or 75. It seems like a winning score is probably 90 to 100. So that's the beauty of MMA DFS. Like there's so many different ways to look at it. It's not just like, who's going to win, who's going to lose. You really got to think through a lot of different things and scenarios. So, I think we're definitely on the same page with that one and the logic behind it. I'm not good with a lot of these names, and this is one I'm definitely probably going to slaughter in the
Sumadargi.
Sumadargi. Yeah.
There you go.
Only just a first name, no last name, facing Mitch Raposo. Sumadargi is minus 185, Raposo plus 160. And this is one of the fights that is expected to go the distance, slightly expected to go the distance, showing plus 130. So has that changed at all? I know you're kind of monitoring the odds throughout the week. And then, what's your take here in this one?
Yeah, no, it's still plus 130 to finish, but the money line, Raposo's taken some money even since Monday. So it's now minus 160, 140. And at open, when was open? Like March 28th, minus 300 Sumadargi. And immediately Mitch Raposo got a good amount of buy. It's like the minus 200 range. And ever since then, Raposo's got even a little more. This is a clear dogger pass for me. I mean, that 1,600 goes a long way. You pretty much, I think, need a Sumadargi round one knockout. That's plus 550, 15%. And when you look at ownership, it's about that. So I guess when you put it in those words, yeah, maybe it's fine. But if he doesn't get a first round knockout, it's hard to see him getting there. I mean, you can see right there from the stone, no takedown upside on the Sumadargi side, little less than 5 significant strikes per minute in a fight favored to go the distance. Just hard to click that button. I prefer some other guys in the top ranges like pivots. So very little Sumadargi, maybe none in 20 and below, not much in 150. Definitely going to play some Mitch Raposo, but it kind of goes back to, because Raposo has a good money line and a solid inside the distance prop for his price, like plus 140 and taking money. Sign me up for that any single day. That's better than Cowen for 200 cheaper. He's plus 340 to finish. He opened plus 425. That's a lot of line movement for him to finish. So definitely going to play some Raposo. The problem is, I think it stays on the feet the whole time. Like Sumadargi doesn't wrestle much. Sumadargi's bad off his back, but Raposo can wrestle. And again, that 1.94 takedowns per 15, that's a lot smaller sample size, but that's not what he's known for. He has some pop in his hands. If they get in a striking war, maybe Raposo has a little more power. I just think we get a really close fight when it's all said and done. Go to the judges. You hope Raposo gets his hand raised, but if he does, it still might be like a 78, which I don't want 78 really as a dog. Not that I would hate it at 7,300. Like I'd be fine having some, but it's not something I want 35% of on a slate like this. So great money line and win equity for his price, which will lead to some ownership. Yeah. But there's plenty of dogs down below that have more upside. But dogger pass for sure in this one.
Yeah, see, that's one thing that I was going to ask you for sure as you're kind of talking through it. If the line has moved towards Raposo a little bit, and people aren't going to really be playing this Sumadargi guy, like, don't you think the ownership probably steams up a little bit on Raposo just for simply win equity purposes and the fact that a lot of people aren't going to be on the other dude?
100% I do. The thing is, I think because so right in that same range, Patricio Pitbull, I think he gets some ownership later against Yair Rodriguez. Dominic Reyes, that fight's supposed to finish against Krylov, solid money line, good, solid inside the distance prop. He's going to get some ownership. Then it's Raposo right there. Dumas, we'll get to him next, but he'll just get some. Maybe Raposo gets a little more. And we know Bryce Mitchell's going to get some at 7,100, getting all that steam inside the distance. So yes, I do think so, but it still might be like 18, 19%.
Yeah.
Because people like clicking these dogs below, and the mid tier is so loaded, you're not even forced to play two of these guys down below if you don't want.
And one thing I have noticed, like 13, 14 fight cards, a lot, unless something stands out crazy, like a lot of these 7K underdogs that are similarly viewed, they all end up like, I don't know, like 18 to like 23%. That's like the standard range for a lot of these plays. And I think a majority of these guys probably end up in that range. Bryce Mitchell's a name. He probably gets like a little bit more, I'd guess. I haven't dug into the ownership or anything this week, haven't built teams, but just one thing I've noticed on fight cards in similar size, these guys typically end up, I don't know, 16, 17 to like 22, 23%.
Yep. And so just quickly, like comparing his upside to the guys I mentioned, Patricio Pitbull, I don't know. I think Pitbull probably has a little more ownership. It's close though. Dominic Reyes, I definitely think has more ownership. I think he has more round one knockout upside. Dumas, I don't know. He has a little wrestling. I don't think he's great. Bryce Mitchell, and then I'll add in even Trayshawn Gore and Darren Elkins. I don't love Gore, so I'm not going to say he has more upside, but he probably does with round one upside. And if Darren Elkins wins, it's a lot. We'll get there, but wrestling, takedowns, control. So there is others in the lower tier, even though they have worse money line equity, that I still do view that have higher finishing equity. And the last thing to note is you're not getting any leverage off for Raposo because Sumadargi is so low owned, where some of the other guys you are getting a little leverage. So I use that as a tiebreaker sometimes as well.
Yeah. All right. Next fight, keep it moving. And like I said, maybe try to build some teams at the end if we have some time here. Michael Ochep, how do you pronounce that?
Olejczuk.
Olejczuk facing Dumas. Olejczuk is minus 190. Dumas plus 165. Another fight that is expected to finish at minus 210. Got a 9K price tag, 7,200 price tag. What do you see here in this one?
Man, this is probably my least, like when you see minus 210 to finish, like it just feels slam dunk. And the problem is, so Mikey O is just all on the feet. Great volume, as you can see right there, 5.08 significant strikes per minute. He isn't going to be landing any takedowns. His weakest part is off his back and his defensive wrestling. He did go to the Fighting Nerds camp, Kyle Bahayo, all of them. So I definitely, which is a great move for him. So I'm expecting his takedown defense to get better. And this Cedricus Dumas guy, I mean, he's an okay striker. He's long for the division. As you can see, 2 inches in height, 5-inch reach advantage in this fight. But on the feet, I mean, Olejczuk's the way better fighter. The volume, the power, he rips to the body. Just everything about Olejczuk's hands versus Dumas is better. I do think Dumas tries to wrestle a bit. I'm not sure how much success he has, but if he can even just push him against the cage for a little bit and slow this fight down, that fight can bust that way. Now, with all that being said, this fight's one of the lower owned fights on the card at minus 210 to finish. Mikey O is one of the lowest owned in the upper tier. He, talking about pivots in the upper tier when I was talking about the cornhole and Sumadargi stuff, I'll rather play Mikey O at plus 105 inside the distance for very similar ownership and get different that way. So I'll use him in chalkier lineups. I'm more likely to use him when I'm playing both the main event and the co-main event. If I'm fading one of those two, I'd rather play a Marco Tulio, Chase Hooper. I'll eat chalk in different spots. So if I need to get different, I'm fine with Mikey O. I still think Dumas might even be my preferred play just because of the ownership gap. So he's plus 275 to finish who. That's when we were talking about Raposo, plus 340. Dumas, a decent bit better at plus 275. Round 1 props, Mikey O, plus 250. That's a really good round 1 prop. Open plus 325. So at the end of the day, I'm playing Mikey O in less chalky teams as a pivot, less than 20% owned with first round upside. And then Dumas, he's just a guy that, I mean, if he gets I think his best path is wrestling. I don't think it works. That's why I'm picking Mikey O. But if it does, you could see 3-4 takedowns, 9 minutes of control time, and you might even see a finish as we see a plus 275 here. So yeah, I'm leaning Dumas because of the 1800. Mikey O is a pivot in the upper tier, but if Saberson gave me 35% of him, I would bump him down. I don't want 35. I'd make it somewhere like 27, which is still overweight.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely seems of all the 9K guys, he probably gets the lowest owned. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. So pretty clear to you if deciding on Sumadargi, Mikey O, you're leaning Mikey O
for sure, 100%.
Because it does look like they're going to get similar ownership between those two.
Yep, and again, the cornhole, she's going to get less, but still someone in the upper tier. Yeah, you're Rodriguez when we get there. I prefer Mikey O over all of them. And I just think there's the most first-round knockout. Again, plus 325 to plus 250. That's a good amount of line movement. Plus 250 to finish in round 1 is 29%. I mean, he's coming in less than 20%. If I told you he is getting a first-round knockout, I promise you'd want more than the field that way. So, yeah, Mikey O is one of my favorite pivots in the upper tier. But with all that said, there's some big boys. We're going to get to this upper tier. And also, I'd rather leave $800 and play the main or co-main, and there's no hot take there, but it just shows how easy it is to leave money on a card like this.
Oh, certainly. Yeah, so many opportunities for sure. All right, next fight we got Julian Arosa facing Darren Elkins. Arosa minus 350, Elkins plus 285. This fight is expected to finish as well at minus 145, so not as much as some of the other ones so far, but it is expected to finish. Big pricing discrepancy. Arosa 9,300, Elkins 6,900. What are you seeing here in this one?
Banger. One of the best fights on the card. Do not want to miss this fight. I mean, how Darren the Damage is still doing it at 40 years old. The reason how he's doing it, 2 things. He has heart. He'll fight for your dollar more than anyone else, and he's got cardio. And he's got wrestling. So all 3 of those things can take you a long way in this one. I mean, Julian Arosa should style on him. The speed difference on the feet, the power difference on the feet, the skill level on the feet, it's night and day. Hey, what's going on, Big Marley? What's going on?
There's okay. I'm trying to fill your shoes. It's a battle.
You're doing great.
I don't know some of these dudes early on, but I got some takes when we get to the main dogs here at the end.
He doesn't know the guys, but he'll ship 50K every other week. That's for sure. I mean, man, I love this to target this fight. It's minus 140 to finish. You can see right there in the stone. Julian Arosa, 6.18 significant strikes per minute, 1.69 takedowns per 15. That's a high action fighter in a fight favored to finish, and he's minus 105 to finish himself. Great play. And again, I prefer him over Mikey O, Sumadargi, everyone. To be honest, I might even prefer him over Tulio, because if Tulio gets to the third round outside of the second, I just do not see him being optimal. Julian Arosa can get there in a decision easily in this fight. Darren Elkins, I love Darren Elkins. You can leave a lot of money playing Darren Elkins because if he wins, he's probably scoring 100 plus. I had it up here. Let me see. In his last 5 fights, and a majority of these, he's been an underdog. He scored at least 90 DK points in his last 6 wins dating back to 2018. And I think he was a dog in like 5 of those 6. The reason for that, you can see 2.85 takedowns per 15. He just wrestles for days. He can't really strike. Reversals, takedowns, control time, chain wrestling. That's what you want for a guy if you're paying $6,900 for him. Also, the money line in this one, Arosa opened minus 575. Then it dropped immediately to like the minus 300 range, got back to minus 450 a couple days later. Ever since then, money slowly but surely on Darren Elkins, minus 300 plus 250 now. Darren Elkins is one of my favorite live dogs in the lower tier. Can leave money with them. A lot of wrestling upside. Arosa is one of my favorite in the upper tier. He's going to be lower owned than Tulio. He's going to be lower owned than Chase Hooper. Gene Silva and him will be pretty close, and I definitely prefer Arosa in this spot. He should win. He's very live for a knockout. He's tricky on the mat too, but so is Elkins, and Elkins is really tough to sub. But yeah, however this fight goes, if either finishes, you take it. If it goes to decision, either of them still have a chance to be optimal. This is the fight I want to target.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times, people start building teams and there's, I don't want to play anyone in the 6K range, like as a massive underdog. But man, you look at the production this guy's had. When he wins, he wins and he's optimal. Like 90 points his last time out, fantasy points 111. He had a win at 117, a win at 122, a win at 124, win at 93. Always puts up points. When he does win. And obviously there's going to be some weaker competition in that list for sure.
I'll say he was an underdog in most of those fights.
Okay. Too. And then, yeah.
He's just always almost a dog.
What sort of ownership are we thinking on a guy like him? Can't be much. I mean, because he's a big underdog. 13%, I think, would be fair. Yeah. Very interesting play. So, yeah, I'm excited for that one. Sounds like for sure. I mean, and,
any Darren the Damage Elkins fight, man, 40 years old, but that dude's still – he'll be bloody. It'll be a fun fight, all action. You don't want to miss that one.
Us 40-year-olds got a little fight left in us. Not much, but some,
You got another one coming up.
Yeah, that one I don't have as much confidence in. That is for sure. I know this one. Hooper versus Miller. Hooper, biggest favorite on the card, like you already alluded to, minus 800. Jim Miller plus 575. Hooper's 9,600. Jim Miller is 6,600. This fight is expected to finish inside the distance at minus 160. Definitely not excited about this 40-year-old in Jim Miller, and I think everything is working against him in this fight. You have a fighter in Hooper that's much younger, one that is really improved. I remember when I first got into MMA DFS, I can remember he was like a scrawny little dude. He had nothing going. This dude has improved a ton every single fight and looks borderline dominant now. So many different ways to get it done from what I've seen. You're the expert. You can tell me all about it. But, man, to me in this one, I want as much Hooper as I can get on this card. And I definitely will not be playing Jim Miller. Very, very clear for me. What are you seeing in this one?
The lightweight division better watch out for Chase Hooper. He's only 25. This dude lives, breathes everything MMA. The one time I was in Vegas, DraftKings hooked it up, went to the UFC PAI and all that, walked in bright and early. Pay-per-view was later on that day. Who walking in? Chase Hooper right there, bright and early Saturday morning, ready to work, ready to grind. and you can see it. I mean, his striking so much improved. And then not even just improved since when he came in the UFC. It was mainly the Steve Garcia fight. A couple years back, round 1, 3 knockdowns for Steve Garcia, fight over, just as much of a beatdown, grown-ass man in Garcia against a little kid. You can see it, tell Chase Hooper, instead of going the other way and just quitting or just wanting to go that way like Jimmy Crute kind of, he got better. He knocked down Slaviclaws. His wrestling is solid. His grappling is phenomenal. That's everyone knows about Chase Hooper. Now he's putting on muscle. He's in the weight room. Was at 145, now 155. Growing into his body. Striking is most definitely improved. Wrestling is improved. And he just knows his limbs, his leverage, everything on the mat. I do think Jim Miller still has some left in the tank at 41. I'm not writing him off like some of these other old heads that I think are in it for just a paycheck and they're out. Jim Miller is game. The problem is Jim Miller is most dangerous on the mat. Chase Hooper is way better on the mat, I think. On the feet, I think it's pretty close. I just think Chase Hooper can get it to the mat, take his back, and just kind of do whatever he wants there. I've been super impressed with Chase. I'm definitely playing 0 Jim Miller. If I was playing 5,000 teams, I'd play 0 Jim Miller. Chase Hooper, I want a lot of Chase Hooper. Salary, we talked about it. Plenty of live dogs down low. Mid-tier is so loaded. Upper tier is solid, but it's Chase Hooper in a tier of its own, and then after that, you're talking about others. So, yeah, I think Chase, pencil him in for 95 plus. Is 95 enough? Probably not. He gets you 130, which is in play. Yeah, you're going to want Chase Hooper.
Yeah, this one's very clear. It's Hooper, nothing. And like I said, he's improved a ton. I can remember seeing him early on. He's young. He wants it. He's hungry. I think he beats the shit out of us 40-year-old guys here. He's definitely gonna be struggling against Mr. Hooper. So before we move on to the next, I just want to remind you guys we still got that promo code going. DGen75 gets you $75 off for the first month of our annual core package, monthly core package. Includes SaberSim Optimizer up to 250 teams, our projections, ownership, stone slate plans for all the sports that we offer. It'll be a big week, obviously, with the UFC pay-per-view and also the Master Showdown stuff. The contests are going to be huge, and we'll have all our ownership projections, slate plan for that as well. So great time right now to get in and check it out. All right, next fight. These are going to be slaughtered names. Is this a chick fight?
Chick fight. Verna Jandiroba, Yan Zhaonan.
There we go. The Verna is minus 144. Yan is plus 124. The fight not expected to finish inside the distance at plus 125, though it's relatively close. The problem I see with this right out of the gate is the fact that this fight is priced right by those 2 5-rounders. So I know for sure that's going to bring the ownership down on both these fighters. Like, there's no doubt about it. I mean, they're priced right there with everybody in those last 2 fights. Like, there's no way these two could see substantial ownership. So, I mean, does anything stand out in this one? Like, are we playing either of these two over someone from the main event? Obviously, you can play them alongside, but a lot of times when you're building teams, it comes down to, am I playing this or that? So, what are your thoughts here on this one?
I'm definitely playing some Verna. It's striker versus grappler. Verna's the grappler in this matchup. Jan's the striker. You can see it on the stone. Little under 5 takedowns for Jan, or significant strikes per minute for Jan, over 2 takedowns for Verna Jandiroba. Jan really struggles off her back. She's a very solid striker. Verna, a very, very good grappler, an okay wrestler. She can have problems controlling people on the mat. Jan just might be so bad off her back, she might be fine, but a tremendous grappler. Verna might win this fight and take on Wei Li. Like, Wei Li's ran through this whole division. I mean, Wei Li would run through Verna too, but there just isn't really much other competition up top, and at least Verna has the grappling upside. So, I mean, I'm not playing any Jan, I don't think. Like you said, she needs a big girl score. She's like plus 500 to finish this fight. She has no takedown upside. If she beats me, she beats me. Also, this fight, open plus 125 to finish, now plus 150. Some more money coming in on the over. I at least want some outs. If this fight goes to decision, can one of them be optimal? Verna could get you 3-4 takedowns, 11 minutes of control time, a decision. Would it be optimal? Maybe, maybe not, but at least score. Verna is plus 450 to win in round 1 and plus 220 to win total, though. Plus 450 in round one's 18%. We're looking at her ownership. Yeah, it's a little higher than 18%. We might be a little heavy right now, but that's just in round one. Plus 220 to finish is a good number. And if she finishes, it's through the mat. So I don't even hate the reason I don't hate it. You can build a team, have Marco Tulio and both Volkanovski and Patty, drop Tulio all the way down to a Verna and leave 900. She can outscore him in a vacuum. Little stuff like that is how I'd get different. And then again, you're not just competing Verna against those two because you're playing two fighters, the main event and the co-main, and then this fight. And then you're just leaving salary, doing a different roster construction that way. So totally fine doing things like that this week. Verna's a play that has upside because of wrestling grappling. So I'm in on it. Yeah, and even if she wins, I think it's probably decision. And yeah, that's not scoring as a striker.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it has to be low. I mean, we're showing 27 and 16% range. And I think the underdog coming in around this, it's same thing. Like I said, all these underdogs in the 7K range are typically between 16, 17%, and then 22, 23. She's going to fall somewhere in there, but it's man, it would take a lot, I think, for Verna to end up on optimal. Just looking at pricing, it could obviously happen, but it would be tough because I guess the way you logically start to build teams, you can play her with the 5-round fights, but the problem is a lot of times you start building lineups and it comes down to the decision between the two. If you're going to plug in a couple 9K guys and then you get down to the 1v1s, her versus Patty Pimblett, her versus Volkanovski. So I think the ownership will come down. I think it's going to be lower than, I think it's probably closer to 20 would be my guess. I don't know for sure. I haven't built teams at this point, but I'm guessing just because of the pricing stuff this week that she has to come in a little bit lower owned than even we're showing at this point. So we'll see. All right, the rest of the fights, I think I know most of the dudes involved, so I think we should be good moving forward. I heard the names at least, so we'll see. Sean Woodson taking on Dan Ige. Woodson 8,500, Ige 7,700. Woodson is minus 170 in this fight. Ige plus 145. But the one thing that definitely stands out is this 185 number, and this fight is not expected to finish, and it's not at all expected to finish at plus 185. I'm assuming Woodson's probably a pretty tough click at 8,500 in a fight that's not expected to finish, only 3 rounds. Just looking at the numbers that Vegas is telling me, it has to be very difficult to click that name unless he's someone that gets a lot of takedowns, someone that's a wrestler. That's the only way I think you could logically play him here, which based on what I've read so far, doesn't seem like he's that sort of fighter. Ige, 7,700 seems like the play here. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, hey, the fights. You can take it from here, and I'll just sit back and I can host. No, for sure. So 2 things stand out. You mentioned the plus 185 to finish. The other things, Sean Woodson, how he makes 145 is insane. Buddy's 6'2", 78-inch reach, as you can see right there. Dan Ige, 5'7", 71-inch reach. You're going to be looking at a little toothpick pencil, looking down at a guy that's kind of built pretty solid. With all that being said, so 7 inches in height, 7-inch in reach advantage. With all that said, I'm on Dan Ige and the younger guy. Dan Ige, he doesn't get knocked out. So good luck for Sean Woodson. Woodson doesn't wrestle. He doesn't even have a ton of power, and Dan Ige doesn't get knocked out. So even though he throws a lot of volume, he could land 150 significant strikes, win a decision. It's still probably not enough. If Sean Woodson beats me, I'm definitely out. Inside the distance props, Dan Ige, the underdog, plus 250. Sean Woodson, plus 575. Dan Ige's over double the chance to get a finish in this fight as the underdog than Sean Woodson. The problem with Dan Ige, there's no problem in real life. The dude is a phenomenal fighter. What he did against Diego Lopez on hours' notice when he stepped in for Ortega, if it was a 5-round fight, Dan Ige might have won that fight. He was taking over as the fight goes. One of the best chins we've seen. The volume can be low, as we see right there. So I think Woodson's the minute winner. Ige has the power advantage for sure. How can he manage the distance? I think he can get on the inside of Sean Woodson. I do think a knockout is very live. I think he can maybe mix in a takedown or two. Woodson has good takedown defense, is very long. But if Ige gets under and the inside gets low, he can dump Woodson once or twice. The problem is Ige's 7,700. We talked about Trayshawn Gore if he wins. Big boy upside for 700 less. Raposo's got a better money line. No, pretty much the same. Hold on, plus 151, plus 140. Yeah, so Raposo for a lot cheaper, 400, has a better money line, but a worse inside the distance. But just him there. Like, Raposo can outscore him. Dumas, Darren Elkins. So even though I'm picking Ige to win and I think he's live for a knockout, if he doesn't get a knockout, I don't think Ige gets to the optimal even in a decision win because he's lower volume. I don't think he completely puts on the wrestling shoes. And 7,700 isn't 7,000 at the end of the day. So it's Ige or pass for me, but I don't love Ige. And with all that said, like Big Marley, it looks like he's the exact same. 2-star, not good. More stars on the Ige side, so he prefers him. But yeah, it's still not something I love because of the upside in this fight. But yeah, Dan Ige or pass.
Yeah, I'm I definitely sold on that for sure after just looking at the numbers and then the breakdown and whatnot. I don't know how you click the Woodson name this week. And again, just like the two women in the first fight, it's like, yeah, he's not going to be highly owned, but like if you don't see a path to him being on optimal, he's still going to have, I don't know, probably 10 to 15 ownership, 15% ownership. So any fade in UFC DFS is substantial. And you just hope when the slate locks, the number is big, that a lot of people did end up playing him. If you do fade, I just don't see how you can really click that name this week. Next fight, Krylov versus Reyes. Krylov minus 190. Reyes plus 165. This fight is minus 200 to finish inside the distance. So definitely favored to finish inside the distance. 8,800 price tag versus a 7,400 price tag. Thoughts here on this one?
Great fight to target for sure. Definitely one I want to target on both sides. So what do we have? The odds minus 190, 165, minus 200. So we had a little money. Dominic Reyes has taken some money. We're now looking at minus 176 Krylov, plus 151 for Reyes. And the inside the distance now minus 215. So not much movement on that. I mean, both sides are easy click. Krylov to win is to finish is minus 115. Open plus 100. So we get an $8,800 fighter whose ownership is very much in check. Again, we're not saying all the ownership, premium piece of content. It's as important as anything, ownership in MMA DFS. But it's very
and
much.
And by the way, people track it and have said that our stuff is the most accurate versus the industry. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Yep. Shout out Cheats. He tracks all that stuff. Shout out to Big Marley. Does phenomenal work. Very, very much in check at that price tag. For someone minus 115 to finish, another thing that is worth noting, you're going to be watching a lot of little fellas on this fight. Only one fight at light heavyweight at 205, only two middleweight fights at 185, and then a bunch of lightweight fights and below. So we get the biggest guys in the octagon, one of the most likely fights to finish. Dominic Reyes is just a pure striker. He's got power. He's got first round finishing upside. He showed against the Jacoby fight. I'll play a guy that has hands that can knock out someone in the first round. Easy, I'm going to play some Dominic Reyes. Krylov, he has knockout ability in round one. He also can wrestle. I mean, 4.38 significant strikes per minute, 2.29 takedowns per 15. This guy's an all-action fighter. He's pressure. He can strike. He has power. And when he needs to, he can mix in takedowns. And I think he does in this fight. Like, why would you want to stand and trade with Dominic Reyes? That's not the easiest path to victory. You're pretty much a coin flip at that point. You take him down, you wrestle, use your nasty ground and pound. You take the air out of his chest, you make it hard on him, beat him up early. You should be able to dominate this fight and get a finish at some point. So Krylov is my preferred play, I think, because he has more paths to win, even at that price tag, because he has more paths to win, the takedowns, minus 115 to finish, and a very fair ownership tag. Reyes is live for a first or second round KO, which probably gets there. But if it gets out of that, even a decision win for him, probably not enough. But yeah, good fight to target for sure.
Yeah. One other thing I wanted to point out, Krylov, last three fights, 121 fantasy points, 127 and 121. So, I mean, his last three fights have been big boy scores. Again, I don't know how the competition stacks up with his last three, but he can put up scores. One of those was a decision as well. So 120 in a decision. He's been scoring lately.
Yeah. So Ryan Spann got a first round finish. I mean, that's impressive, especially to submit Spann early when he's fresh. That's a solid fight, though. Volkan Oezdemir, a very good striker. A solid striker with power. He took the easy approach, 7 takedowns. Again, Spann, he took him down twice, too. And then Gustafsson, I mean, that was way past Gustafsson's career, like his prime. He came back after years off. His chin was gone. I don't know how much stock I put into that one, but pretty much 3 fights. It showed 2 knockdowns and no takedowns. He can strike. 7 takedowns, 2 takedowns, and a sub. He's well-rounded, which is what you like to see.
Yep. Love the upside there at 88, and definitely interested in both sides. All right, Yair Rodriguez facing Patricio. You said Pitbull. Is that his nickname, right?
Yep, that's his nickname. Patricio
so
Pitbull.
We'll go Patricio Pitbull. Rodriguez minus 210. This is basically a coin flip to finish, plus 110. So basically could go either way. The price tag's 8,700, 7,500. What are you seeing here in this one?
I don't like this fight much. Now there's so many fighters that I didn't love. So like I had this fight both as underweight. Maybe I'll raise Patricio a little bit to an overweight, which would be even with the field. It's a dog or pass for the DFS side because I just think it's a really close fight. Yair does not have takedown.
That mirror title. Not 100% sure on that one, but let's see. All right, I think it's title, so I'll continue on. I obviously don't know much about the UFC stuff, but title out. All right, so it's Hoop Solo on MMA UFC show. That's gonna be trouble. He'll get back in here in a minute, but Yair Rodriguez 8,700, and then Pitbull 75. It is pretty difficult, obviously, when you look at this fight. Rodriguez at 8,700. Last fight, lost to Ortega, lost to Volkanovski. Obviously, you can forgive him for that one. But he has beat Emmett, has beat Ortega, and the total points were basically 100 fantasy points in those wins. So, has the ability, obviously, to score. Title is back. Thank God, man. Like, that would have been – like, there's many – oh, he's out again. Get your ass back in here. Hey, there's any other show. You disappear. Hoop would have no problem going solo. I'll talk through it, get the people what they need. A UFC show, though, Hoop solo would be rough. So very thankful to have you back. Very thankful.
I was panicking. I was trying to call you. Worst case, I was going to call you on the phone, and I was going to speak when you had
just audio. Title audio. I'd put you right up to the mic, and you could keep it going that way. But glad to have you back for sure.
That was scary. All right, let me take back over.
Continue on. Yep.
So Patricio Pitbull is making his UFC debut. I mean, you look at that record. He's 37 years old, 36-7 record. Was phenomenal at Bellator. Like, there's stuff going on. He fought Michael Chandler. They have had beef. They've talked a little bit about this week. Patricio Pitbull is a junkyard dog. The problem is he's getting up there in age at 37, and he's an okay DFS scorer. The reason is he can strike, he can mix in takedowns, he has knockout power. The problem is I don't know if he's knocking out Yair. Yair's a phenomenal striker. If Pitbull hits him on the chin, Yair can go down. There is no way Patricio is going to win the striking exchanges, like the minutes at range against Yair. The kicks of Yair are nasty. His boxing has gotten better. His distance management. We're in Miami, so we're in the bigger cage. I think Patricio needs to mix in takedowns, which I think he does. I mean, man, we've seen Yair. Ortega sprains his ankle jumping, celebrating before the fight, puts on the wrestling shoes, still does it. Volk absolutely destroys Yair on the mat. So Patricio's my preferred play with the wrestling upside. Inside the distance props, too, pretty close. Plus 215 for Yair, plus 270 for Patricio. I mean, just give me the 1,200 savings any day of the week. I think Yair probably wins a decision. I think it's close, so I don't love Patricio for that matter, or for that reason. But if he wins, plus 275 to finish good, maybe some takedown upside, there's a path for sure he's on the optimal. I do not love Yair at 8,700. I think we probably need a first or second round KO. Plus 550 to win in round 1, not great. Plus 750 to win in round 2, not great. But he's plus 215 to finish the fight, period. Like, the dude can strike. He has power. Patricio's 37. I'm not going to fade Yair. I like Cornhole worse. I like Sumadargi worse. I like Yair more than both of them, but I like Mikey O more. I like Arosa more, etc. Krylov more.
Tough too. I mean, just obviously going through and seeing like the scores and some of his wins. Like, if you're paying 8,700, you want to see some 110, some 115, some 120s. He's got, a win at 102, 102 fantasy points, 104, 100, 103. Hasn't had many like slate breaking DFS wins, and how applicable is that to this slate? Who the hell knows? But it's just another data point, some to consider. We just have not seen like massive fantasy point wins like we were talking about last time with Krylov at 8,800.
Yeah, and he's good again. Like, the ownership on Yair and Sumadargi and Mikey O are all pretty much the same. Like, just give me the guy that's plus 105 to finish the fight. Yair's prop to finish and cornholes is pretty much the same as Mikey O in round 1. So just when you look at it that way, and I know there's a 300 price difference, but we're not, like, salary's not really tight on this slate. So, I don't love Yair. I'll play some Patricio.
Yeah. All right. On to the last 3 fights, and I definitely know
this is it, man. The people's main event.
Yeah, people are very excited for this one. Gene Silva facing Bryce Mitchell. Silva minus 215. This fight is minus 200 to finish inside the distance. Silva 9,100. Bryce Mitchell 7,100. Silva was pretty good last time out. Watched that fight. Bryce Mitchell, very controversial, I guess, would be the easiest way to put it, figure. So, I mean, he's obviously, people know a lot about him, kind of going backwards a little bit. I mean, people thought he would work his way all the way up. He's had some tough losses. Is it Josh Emmett that knocked him out? That might have been like the worst knockout I've seen in UFC. I mean, the cleanest, most powerful punch straight to the jaw, just out cold instantly. Seizure. That was probably his worst loss of his career, because it was early on in the fight. Silva looked good last time. It's one of those situations, though. If Bryce Mitchell does find a way to win, he's going to score in this fight, right? I mean, he's going to put up a score. Silva, if he wins, is it enough? I guess is the big question. So, for me, I'm leaning Silva. Bryce Mitchell, I've not been impressed with what I've seen. I'm going to play both. I'm not going to give away the ownership, but I just wanted to see like kind of the range that we're at with Silva. Like, how is he stacking up for some of these other guys? And pretty close to some of the other dudes. I think I might prefer the other guys, but I don't know. Either way, this is going to score. So, give me your thoughts here on this one.
I'm pissed. I was on Bryce Mitchell when it was minus 570 Gene Silva, and I did not put $1 on Bryce Mitchell. And now we're sitting at minus 190 for Gene Silva, plus 165. All the money's coming on Bryce. I don't know how it's not. There's just too much recency bias. There was. Maybe 190, 165 is fine. Even earlier in the week, though, what was it, 250, 211 when I wrote up this fight? I was like, these odds just make no sense.
Yeah.
Gene Silva's got all the antics, the aura, as the kids like to say, all of that, the barking, the slapping, let me guess, Landon says aura.
Oh, yeah. I mean, all the lingo. These kids got all this stuff. I was like, what do you guys even – did I tell you the story about this would be a quick one with my daughter. She's in middle school, and like they all say bro. I think I probably already told this other stuff. So they all say bros, and I said it. She goes, do you even know what that means? I was like, okay, I know you guys have all these like weird words and shit you guys use, but like bro's been around forever. I am a little older, obviously, but bro's been around forever. I've been using it forever, like still use it. So that's not like something you can take claim to. But they got all the words though going now. It's crazy.
Yeah, yes, they do.
Different language.
So Gene, he has a loss in the UFC, Knockout City, has looked phenomenal, and he's definitely a good fighter, fighting nerds guy. But I don't know if people forgot about Bryce Mitchell. I don't know if his dumbass statements and and people just want him to lose so bad that a lot of people get emotionally connected with their money and what they want, and it's the last thing you can do. But this Bryce Mitchell guy, if Bryce Mitchell gets a takedown, he gets on top. I promise you don't want minus 190 Gene Silva or 9,100 Gene Silva. It's classic striker Gene Silva. versus grappler and Bryce Mitchell. Bryce Mitchell's a top tier grappler. I mean, he has a twister in the UFC. Very few times that ever been done. Yeah, when I saw the odds this wide, again, it's kept shrinking, which is annoying because Bryce Mitchell's ownership goes up, Gene Silva's goes down. I think Bryce Mitchell wins this fight. I think he gets takedowns. Bryce Mitchell is locked the fuck in. Gene Silva's always locked in. I haven't seen this in Bryce Mitchell's eyes. He's ready to go. Now, he very well might get slept in 1 minute. Gene Silva hits like a truck. I'm worried about Bryce Mitchell's chin. The Emmett knockout, the Taporia knockout, he's been knocked out viciously. But, I mean, again, I'm taking the dog. He's 7,100, a 2K difference. And if Bryce Mitchell wins, he has all the upside in the world. Takedown, control time, submission, etc. I got Bryce by sub. I'm playing some Gene Silva, but I think he loses, so I prefer others in the upper tier. Tulio, Arosa, Krylov, Chase Hooper, of course. And then if Bryce Mitchell wrestles in round 1, Gene Silva's able to survive, and then Gene Silva knocks him out early in round 2, that's how this fight busts. And it's not the craziest thing to see, so I won't have 100% of the fight. There's a lot of good fights on the card. Part of the reason, though, Bryce Mitchell can outscore Chandler or Diego Lopez in a vacuum. And again, I'm not just going to be leaving 900 and dropping directly there, but that's why I'm not forcing those two fights, because Mitchell, Elkins, two guys that are sub 7.2K, I legit think could outscore either of the winners in the 5-round fights, which you do not say every day. So, great fight. Of all the fights on this card, I'm most excited to watch this fight. They've done a phenomenal job selling it. Silva being him, Bryce being whatever he's saying.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, these two can fight, and it's a clash of styles. We'll see who wins.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that one for sure. The Bryce Mitchell thing, I think everything plays into it, and he's said some crazy shit, like stuff that nobody agrees with. So I think people are rooting. People naturally want someone like that to lose. So that's why I think, again, you've seen the big numbers against him and whatnot. But yeah, it's a good point. What does a win look like for somebody? This is a very volatile sport. A lot of people are live, regardless of what the odds say. What does a win look like? A win for Mitchell is probably pretty damn high scoring. So when it comes to DFS, I mean, he's got to be up there with some of these underdogs. So I'm in on both sides. I do think Silva does win, but at 7,100, the upside's big in a win.
You're gonna have to send me your whatever mic you're using. Not only Rob is not the only one. So I've had a couple of comments over the past couple months. I don't know what's going on, but if I'm doing all these shows and people are getting tilted, send me the mic that you have online. I guess I need to know.
Yeah, I think it sounds fine to me, but I don't know how it's coming through on YouTube. Yeah, we'll get him hooked up. We'll get Title hooked up with something.
So then I just can't keep getting yelled at every other week.
Yeah, we'll get you. We'll have it there by tomorrow with Amazon. All right, the 2 5-rounders. You're most excited for the Silva Mitchell fight. I'm definitely most excited for the first of the 2 5-rounders, and that's Paddy Pimblett facing Michael Chandler. Paddy, the baddie, favored -162, Chandler +142, but this fight is expected to finish -550. So the most likely fight to finish on this card. I'll give you my take on it because obviously I know both these guys. I followed them, and then you can put some reality to the situation. But to me, this is so clear to me what I think happens in this fight, and I have never been on Paddy. You know that. I don't really. I have not played him a ton. I have not been very confident in him, I guess, and in his skill set. But he's similar to the Hooper situation where I think he's improved a ton. Now it could be who he's faced. They have protected him a little bit with his matchups. They want this guy. He sells tickets. He sells pay-per-views. I'm sure he sells apparel and all that. So they want him to succeed. So the competition's been a little weak up to this point, but he beat the shit out of Bobby Green. It was an easy win. I'm in on Paddy in a big way. I will be taking a big stance on him over Chandler. Chandler's last fight against Oliveira, all he did was prevent getting tapped out. He wasn't competitive in that fight, unless I could be thinking wrong. But I remember watching that fight. Right, he wasn't competitive. He was just preventing being submitted from Oliveira, which I guess is probably good that he's able to prevent getting choked out or whatever it was, because Oliveira is one of the best submission artists in the UFC, but I didn't see anything from him. It was just defense the whole time. I still remember that Tony Ferguson fight. He got the win, but in the first round, his ass almost got knocked out by Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson has been dead for the last 6 or 7 fights. Like, he almost knocked out Chandler in that fight, and people didn't know how bad Ferguson was at the time, so they thought the win was still pretty good for Chandler. I think Patty beats him. I don't know how he beats him. Hopefully it's a submission and high scoring, because I'm going to be way, way overweight on Patty. I mean, it's going to be tough to be way, way overweight because he's probably coming in at 40, 50% ownership. But I think Patty wins this one. Chandler's just on his way out, in my opinion. So I love Patty in this fight.
I'm glad you have a strong lean. I know I brought up right in the slate plan. People will probably be a little disappointed. I've had a lot stronger leans on the other fights than these two. At the end of the day, I did pick Patty by sub. I think it's clear what the UFC wants. I think if the fight hits the mat at any time, Patty is very, very live for a submission. I don't know if it's a hot take. I don't even know what I think of it. But, I mean, Patty's as dangerous as it gets. You saw the second Bobby Green shot for that takedown against Patty. He went, I think it was from triangle to arm bar. Yeah. He was throwing out every submission in the book. Like, it was King Green's worst decision was going for that takedown. Yeah. Michael Chandler can wrestle. He did avoid the Charles Oliveira submissions. I'm still not convinced, though, that if it hits the mat, that Patty's not going to sub him. Get on top, advantageous positions, go arm, go just whatever he wants. Just circle through different submissions. So I am going Patty by sub. The thing is, though, there's no arguing like the level of competition difference. Even though we've seen Chandler go 2-4 in the UFC, this is who he's fought. Charles Oliveira, Dustin Poirier, Ferguson, who they both fought Tony Ferguson and beat up on him. Justin Gaethje, Charles Oliveira again, and then Dan Hooker. That was the first UFC debut. Chandler lands a big right, sleeps him. Very good performance, but it was so short. So he's 2-4, but against the best. Let's go Patty Pimblett. Bobby Green last fight. He was getting outstruck 15-8 in that one. The leg kicks were starting to add up for Patty. King Green forced him to shoot a takedown, but I mean, it was somewhat competitive early. King Green's okay. Tony Ferguson, I mean, Patty won a decision against Ferguson, so that's not great. No. Jared Gordon, he lost against Jared Gordon. There's no way Patty should be undefeated.
Oh, he lost. I know for a fact he lost that fight for sure. That was one of the bullshit, like, hey, we're giving this guy the win because we have some plans for him type thing. Yeah. He lost that fight. There is no doubt about that. Same as O'Malley. That was similar to O'Malley versus Peter Yan. Same situation. O'Malley lost that fight for sure. There's no doubt about it. And they gave it to the hype train guy. And Patty is one of these hype train guys for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, right there, Jared Gordon, like, that's Michael Chandler's probably better than Jared Gordon, but they're similar. Small, can wrestle, solid cardio. Jordan Levitt. I mean, Jordan Levitt's Jordan Levitt. Kazula Vargas, awful fight. Luigi Vendramini. Vendramini had Patty rocked. The worry is Patty's chin is up in the air. Vendramini rocked him for sure. Patty doesn't, Scousers don't get knocked out. They say this and that. Well, I promise you don't want to eat the clean shot against Michael Chandler. So that's the reason I'm not as convinced, or I just don't have a strong lead on this fight. Looking at it now, first time I'm seeing Big Marley. Looks like he's on Michael Chandler from this. Any Patty lineup, you can take Patty out, go Chandler, leave 600. With all that being said, Patty by sub, my official pick. I don't have a strong lead though. And again, I'm fine if I don't have 100% of this fight. I'm making the rule main event, co-main events to have one of them. Most of my lineups will have two. But yeah, we made cases throughout for some other people that the winner scores 94 in this fight might not be enough.
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't think that's likely, though.
It probably is.
How do you get to 94 is probably like, slow starting fight, and then, someone finds a finish in like the third round, I guess,
second or third.
Second
like
or third,
like a start like the King Green Patty fight. It was 15-8 significant strikes. If Bobby doesn't shoot, that's getting out of the first round at like 25-17. Again, this is 5 rounds, but it's minus 550 to finish. So I think second, third, probably. But the reason this fight might be 92% combined owned. Like, that's the thing I'm saying. of just like, if I can see a little.
Well, that's why I'm saying, like, if you are doing it, you got to play. If you like Chandler, make the stands on Chandler. Don't. This is a fight I do not want to play like 50-50. Like I want
that.
Okay, well, for me personally, I don't want to do that I guess because I like Patty though too. So it's easy for me to say that, but I don't know. Like I guess that maybe if you are doing that, make sure you have some strong leverage plays throughout the rest of the card, right? Where you're just like, all right, I feel good about everything else. Just give me the winner of this fight on these lineups. So I guess if you are playing, making some leverage plays in other spots, sure. But for me, I don't know. I just have a strong lean on it. And maybe you have reeled me in a little bit on it, but I just think he's improved quite a bit. Patty has, like from what I've seen, right? And they have been protecting him. It has been against weaker competition. I just think Chandler's on his way out. Like I can't get that Ferguson thing out of my head where like the first round Ferguson was beating him, which is crazy because then every other Ferguson fight, the dude got his ass fucking kicked. So
I got one question for you. How often, or do you ever, like cards like this, massive prizes up top, the main event's closely lined. Do you ever try and set yourself up for almost a hedge spot? Like again, I'm 50. If I have the nuts and I need 87 points from the winner in the main event, I'm betting the other side.
Yeah.
If I can win 80K plus. Do you have any thoughts on that?
So my mindset with that is like we do this all the time. We do this for a living, obviously. So for me personally, I know all those situations long term are gonna probably balance out, right? So the hedge might for tomorrow night, if you're in that spot, the hedge might make sense. But I know I'm doing this long term. I'm doing it every week. I'm doing it every day. And I think those situations just naturally balance themselves out. So I don't hedge, but I get it. Like some people do. I know you do. I used to always talk with CSU Rams. He's always looking for hedge spots. Always, whatever slate he's playing, not even just MMA, but always looking to hedge. So like if you do it all the time, I think you should do it. Like if you don't do it, I don't think you should just decide tomorrow you're going to start hedging. So for me, I've always not hedged and just like in my head, I know I'll be in the situation again. Could go this way, could go that way, but it balances out in the long run.
100% makes sense. Mine, I rarely ever do it. When I do it, it's a number that's big enough where I'd be maybe a little upset I lose, like 70K plus. And then I need a closely lined fight. Like I'm not laying minus 300 to go hedge on something like that. I need a minus 140, 120. I'd be fine laying minus 140 or just the dog shot that way. But
I know you do it when it's very clear situation. It's like, all right, if it goes this way, I win 50K. Yeah. If it goes the other way, I win 0. Like,
don't do it the other way where you can still lose. The problem is you never know. Like a nut shot.
That's what I'm saying. You got to know for sure where you're at. And with UFC, you could have that too.
Like Henry Cejudo a couple weeks ago. Imagine doing that. Then the eye pokes him in round 3, quits. The winner scores 58, and then you just lose all your money. So that's also the scary part too.
Yes. All right, we're on to the main event of the evening. Alexander Volkanovski facing Diego Lopez. 8,200 for Volk, 8K for Lopez. I know this line has moved a ton, so I don't necessarily want to give the line. So right as of now. Volkanovski's minus 144. So it looks like people have come back to him a little bit. Lopez plus 124. This fight for me personally, I could see going either way. Like you didn't have like a super strong lean in the last fight. I personally don't have a very strong lean in this one. I mean, you look at it, okay. You look at Volkanovski and in his last 3 losses, which is crazy. There could not be a better 3 losses for any UFC fighter ever.
Impossible.
If you're looking at their last 3. 2 against Islam, 1 against Topuria, probably the 2 best fighters in the UFC right now, right? If you said pound for pound, who's the best? The 1 Islam fight, he took on short notice, and you could tell he wasn't in fighting shape. He had like little tiny like muffin top things going on the side.
Paycheck.
Yeah, 100%. And he got his ass kicked and moved on. And, the weird thing with Islam, that's happened now like twice with him. He had the last one out. So
people don't want to fight him.
Yeah, that's a whole different conversation when it's obviously unfortunate. And you've been right about that the whole way with Islam. You knew he was the dude. But so the 3 losses for Volk, you could not have a better 3 losses, like 2 against Islam, 1 against Topuria. It is kind of annoying, and you know the ins and outs of UFC better. Topuria just so dominant, right? So dominant, decides he's going up, and now these guys just by default like get a title shot. I hate that aspect of it. It's almost like they didn't have to earn it. Obviously, Volk has been around forever and deserves it, but like these guys just slide in and get a shot at the title. But with Lopez, I think he's good. I haven't been like overly impressed. So the conversation is really, it's like, how good do you think Lopez is? And do you think Volk is on his way out? Like those are the 2 questions you really need to ask yourself. Is Volkanovski capable of fighting at this level still? A little bit older, has had some losses. I don't know. This one I have like no lean on. I guess maybe I would do the 50-50 thing on this one unless you convince me otherwise. I have no idea.
I don't have a strong lean. Now, what I do think I have a strong lean on is it's Diego Lopez early or it's Alexander Volkanovski late. The biggest concern about Volk is his chin. It's been touched plenty of times. Volk was beating Topuria. He was just chipping away. With all that being said, I had money on Volk. I was there at the fight live. Volk did win round 1. It was never fun because Topuria was just walking him down, Volk chipping away, but you could tell any power shot landed was on the Topuria side and it was going to change the fight. Yeah. Diego Lopez has power, big boy power. I think Volk's the better minute winner. I think what Volk did to Holloway, those 3 times, Max Holloway, masterpiece. Like to be able to calf kick, mix in the wrestling, win minutes against Max Holloway on the feet. You don't see that every day. So I still think he has it like that. I still think he is him when it comes to winning minutes and winning fights. I'm worried about the chin. He's 36 years old. Lopez hits like a truck. You get hit. Islam Makhachev has been knocked out before. Not in the UFC. It's been a long time. People are human. You get hit in the right spot. Your brain shuts off. You lose. I'm worried early for Volk. The longer the fight goes, I think Volk takes over. So I don't know. I'm picking. I think Lopez knocks him out in rounds 1 or 2 and finds the chin, but not a strong lean at all. And I will be looking for a live bet Volk spot 100%.
Yeah, it's a tough one. And I think a lot of people have the same mindset because there's so many questions behind it. Like, with Volk, like what people have seen, like in these losses, it's like, all right, is he on his way out? And then Lopez is still kind of new. I don't think people really know, feel super confident, who he is, what he's going to be moving forward, what caliber of fighter he is. So like, I think that's why no one really has a super strong lean on it. If you do, and you take a stand, you probably have a chance to be a little bit, not different, but, I think most people probably, most 150 people are going to 50-50 this fight in terms of their ownership. They're going to split it and be good with whatever ends up happening. And I'm telling you right now, I'm probably going to be someone that does that because I don't have a strong lean. I don't know what's going to happen. I think a lot of people do. If you have a strong lean, I think you definitely have a chance to be a little bit different. I wish you kind of talked me one way or the other. What is?
I wish I did too.
Yeah,
some days I do like the Sean Brady stuff. Like I'm never gonna lie and pretend I got strong. That
was a fucking ass kicking, man. That was an absolute beatdown. You were on it. You nailed the parlay as well, which is nice. I got that fired in.
We got lucky though. Allberg, from the look of it, I'll take luck there, but Sean Brady was not luck.
Yeah, that's like a different conversation, different fight. But dude, do what you did in the first round, what you did the last like 2 minutes of the fight, and it would have been freaking over right from the beginning. Like he poured it on at the end and was just delivering. First round, he's dancing all over the place, trying to be like a technical fighter or something. Like, dude, like do what you do. That was annoying, but it worked out.
It worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is, you can't really drop a better DFS card. 2 5-round fights, only 3 favorites, minus 300 or greater. Plenty of live dogs. 8 of the 13 supposed to finish. Live fans, Miami, pay-per-view season. Come on, this is gonna be a good one.
Oh, I'm excited, man. I can't wait. I got the evening cleared out to tune in. I'm going to be watching these fights. Definitely very, very excited. I hope I didn't, mess it up too much. I think we did good. Perfect. I think we had good conversation, didn't slaughter too many names. And when I did, you stepped in to assist. I know your boy Big Marley will be back next week with some more expert analysis.
I think we're off next week, so we can make
no
some
fights
next
week.
No, this was 12 or 13 in a row.
Oh, it was a bunch in a row, yeah. Okay.
So we're gonna have one and a perfect week for me. I'll be out anyway. So yeah, that's but then after that, I think we got a bunch left. MMA is pretty much every week, but yeah, next week is off.
I said I did want to build some lineups, but I pulled up Saber and
nothing's in yet.
Yeah, not even on the Saber side. So I guess
our stuff will be up there pretty soon. Projection ownership if you want to start.
Yep. Get in the Discord though. I mean, the conversations for MMA are as good as any other sport. I mean, they've been chatting all week about this. I know our guy Kenny W, who's absolutely smashed, is in there. He's been grinding the tape, looking at different situations to exploit this week. But Discord is included in this deal. The code's DGen75. All our projections for UFC 314, the slate plan, Big Marley's rankings, the Stone. For $24, it gets you all of that. So now's a great time. Obviously, you get the Saber Sim as well. You can build up to 250 lineups in Saber, and all our projections and ownership will come preloaded in there. So any final thoughts, though, before we get out of here? I mean, it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, no, I guess I was one step ahead saying the 8 of the 13 finish live in Miami. But no, I think we broke it down great. Always love talking fights with you. You knew a lot of the guys, which doesn't surprise you. You've been playing for years, but even if you knew none of them, Hoop's still at the top of the leaderboard. So I'll be looking at you on the top at the 555.
I hope you're right. Can't wait. It's going to be a good card. Make sure to get on over to ShipItNation.com. That code is DGen75. Good luck to everyone in your contest. Looking forward to seeing those Ship It Nation logos at the top of the leaderboard.